So my plan for this was to, take a shower, as per my wet hair, as that's what I did this morning. Finish the last episode of Firefly, give myself, half the day to digest it, think about it, get my thoughts together. And then I watched the last episode. And man, Netflix really knows how to leave you on a cliffhanger.
Nerd.
Today we're talking about the new Netflix original series, Firefly Lane. It follows Katie and Tully, two girls who meet in the 80s, also following them in their 40s. If you haven't seen the show yet, go watch it now because this is going to be spoiler heavy. It was so good and I just need to talk about everything that happened because so much happened in this show. And I just want to start by saying that it really is an eye-opener to realize your parents had their own lives and are their own person before you came along. So that was really cool to see, but what was also really cool to see was the writing of the show. The way it just seamlessly went back and forth between the 80s and 2003 was immaculate. They talk about one thing and then would just slide right into the next phase of the time frame. I always say this whenever I love a show. I always have to give credit to the writers because the writers are the backbone of the series, and you guys did a great job really captivating and keeping the viewer entertained, grabbing them emotionally by the heart, and just twisting and having fun with it. Because there's so many times going through this, I was like, oh my god, okay, so Johnny and Katie are definitely getting back together. Okay, cool. I don't need to worry. 2 seconds later, it's ha. That's really funny. And it was just an emotional roller coaster the entire time, being will they, won't they get back together? Because I was rooting for Johnny and Katie this entire time. When I found out that Johnny and Tully hooked up, I was I had no reaction. I was just wow. I wasn't expecting that plot twist at all. The backbone of the show is of course Tully and Katie's friendship, and learning more about their friendship and the backstory of their friendship throughout the show instead of having it thrown to you in the beginning and then being oh, okay, now here's them in their 40s was genius. They'd reference something in 2003 and then you'd be okay, what do you mean? And then they quickly give you the backstory hey, here's this, furthering the characters' relationship without having to do it in 2003. I probably should have sat and processed this for an hour or two and figure out what I was gonna say, but of course these are raw reactions, so this is not scripted, not nothing. This is me just talking, trying to process my emotions while also telling you guys what I thought about the show. It was also so cool to see because I want to be a producer for a live TV show, so it was really cool to see the background of that in the 80s and also in 2003 how much stuff has changed, technology, the way people work together. And it was so cool that Tully kept Johnny as her producer for at least 20 years. We're gonna talk about the ending now, the breaking point where Katie and Johnny hook up, which I was really excited about, and she comes to the realization that she does still love Johnny. At the same time, you have everyone at Christmas. I'm so happy that Tully and her mom mended their relationship after having such a problematic relationship when she was a child because she was high all the time and really never was the mother Tully deserved. And then you get shots of Johnny in Iraq. And you think, okay, cool, he's just writing whatever. Katie sees the writing. I love you writers, but I despise you because we don't know if Johnny's dead, we don't know if Johnny's alive, or he steps on a landmine. My guess is Johnny's still alive, but he just he looks just passed out. I don't think he's dead. And you cut to the phone ringing, which would give away to suggest that the military was calling Katie and being hey, Johnny's hurt, he's coming home, or worst comes to worst, which I don't want to think about right now, is Johnny's dead. No one picks up the phone. Pans out, and Tully and Katie are sitting outside, just wrapped in a blanket, talking about how Tully just quit her job and she wants to start a new show. She offers Katie the producer job, which, flashback to the 1980s, that was their entire goal, was for Katie to be Tully's producer. So it comes full circle, and of course Katie accepts the role with no TV show to produce right now, but that's a season 2 thing. And then Katie's brother comes in and he's I came out to my wife who kicked me out. And then they all have a powwow. Her brother moves in, and then we have another flashback, but instead of a flashback, we jump forward. They're all at Katie's dad's funeral. It's mentioned earlier in the series that oh, like Tully would know what to say if she was here, and you don't really know what to think of it until you get to the end, and Tully shows up to the funeral, and Katie just tells her to get out of there, leave, doesn't want anything to do with her. No context behind that, but that's where they leave you, on a massive cliffhanger. God. I had to wait a whole year for another season of this. I don't know why I do this to myself, watch shows the minute they come out and really realize I have to wait a whole year for another season. Also, the heartbreaking storyline that is Tully's pregnancy really like had me crying. Like, it was so powerful, so moving, and just to see it like burn her ass in the end was just like, why can't anything go right for Tully? Like, I feel so bad for her character. She just always gets the low end of the stick, and I want to see her character actually get something. She just goes through so much as a character. She deserves something good to go right. She really does, and I really hope she gets that in season 2. Along with in season 2, I really hope Johnny's alive, comes back to Katie, everyone's happy, and I feel like season 2 is going to focus on the struggle of trying to start a new show from scratch. I'm sure the legal consequences of her leaving her contract will come back to bite her, probably not allow her to start another show for X amount of years. Who knows? But all we know is Tully and Katie are not on good terms. And that just like scraps the entire season of what we learned. If you have yet to see Firefly Lane, go check it out on Netflix. Highly recommend. Great show. It really gets you in your feels, so be prepared. And yeah, if you guys like this and want more content like this, comment down below. Other than that, stay safe. Remember, follow your COVID guidelines. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great week, nerds. Bye!